Welcome here to Talk is Cheap, and we have an absence here for the Talk is Cheap crew. Giovanni is overseas, he's over in Haiti right now with the school, but I'll be your host today, and we have Lorenzo Wilkins back on Talk is Cheap with us. He's going to be filling in for me against Ludolf McLaren. So we're going to have our Cheap Talk, Real Talk segment. So the first statement is it too late for the Knicks to make the playoffs? The Knicks lost today against the Heat 102 to 91. Melo was held to 13 points, 4 of 17 from the field. And the Hawks won, beating the Pacers on the road. So the Knicks are now 2 games behind. So Lorenzo, is it, well not is it, but it's too late for the Knicks to make the playoffs? Cheap talk or real talk?
Real talk. We're talking about the Knicks. Their last 4 games they have all against playoff opponents. They're playing 2 games against the Raptors, against the Nets, and also against the Bulls. And we're talking about the Knicks. They're an inconsistent team, lack of leadership. This team doesn't seem so focused, and we have a lot of inconsistent guys we're having to deal with. J.R. Smith, he'll have his game where he'll have 30, and he'll have games where he'll go 1 for 18 and such. That goes along with everybody, including Melo and Raymond Felton and Tyson Chandler. I just don't think the Knicks have enough to make this final push. And also with the Hawks having an easier schedule, playing against 3 non-playoff teams and 2 games already ahead.
Rudolph.
I'm also going to agree with him. I did also look at the schedule, and the Knicks do have a tough schedule, so I'm going to say the Knicks that it is
too late.
It's too late for the Knicks to make the playoffs. As in, Melo's not there, he's hurting. If Melo's hurting, the Knicks are not. The Knicks are. What can they do?
Yeah,
There's nothing else they can do. J.R. Smith broke the record for most 3-pointers.
22 attempts.
And they still lost.
So there's no hope for the Knicks, but we'll see. Couple more games left. So the Heat are in their 4th season with the Big Three. You know, they lost against Dallas their first year and then got back-to-back championships. So the question is, well, the statement is, Miami won't be as dominant in the playoffs like they have been for the past 2 years. So Ludolf, is that cheap talk or real talk?
That is real talk. This Miami team doesn't seem as good, as prepared, as hungry as the past 2 teams. This team seems more relaxed and cool. I'm not saying they can't turn it up because we know the Heat, they can do anything. But as it looks right now, it seems as they're not as motivated. They still have a good team. All the core players they have, everywhere from management to coaching, is still there. But that motivation, that drive, that hunger is not there with them now.
So Lorenzo, real talk.
Everybody give Rudolph a hand. I'm happy he finally came around to agree that the Heat are what the Heat are, and I'm agreeing with you too. This Heat team that did a lot of injuries. Dwayne Wade's in and out. He has the hip, the knee, the calf, concussions. We don't know what it is with Dwayne Wade. This team is a year older.
You can't be attacking Wade like that. Just saying.
I understand. He's still Dwayne Wade. He's a great player, but we don't know what to expect in the playoffs. But as again I was saying, a lot of injuries. Not even Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, age. You don't know what to expect with these guys. I mean, and they have to rely on a lot of 3-point shooting. You know, and Ray Allen and Shane Battier can hit those shots. I mean, all the teams are going to do is stag on LeBron and Wade and make those guys beat them. And if they can't do that, then they're going to be in trouble.
Okay. Well, there it is. Both analysts agree. Well, this next topic now involves KD and him chasing down Michael Jordan with 40 straight games, scoring 25 points or more, and he has done it tonight. But now the statement is KD will score at least 25 points in every game for the rest of the season. Cheap talk or real talk, Lorenzo?
I'm going to have to say real talk. This guy, Kevin Durant, I mean, he can score in numerous ways, posting up, 3 balls. I mean, I see it against their schedule. I mean, with a tight race with the Spurs for that #1 seed, he's going to have to go out every night and deliver. And they're playing some pretty good teams. Their schedule's going to be tough. And just for that, and then just for chemistry with things. They want to be able to, go into the playoffs playing well, and I think for them to do that, Kevin Durant has to give them, 25 to 30 points a game, which he will do, and he will win them an MVP. So I believe he will. Real talk.
That's real talk. Ludolf.
This is 3 for 3. I'm going to also go and say that this is real talk. As in, KD's been having a good year. I don't see anything that can stop him. They don't have anybody else to score like that other than Westbrook, so he's going to get the shot attempts. So if he's getting the shot attempts, of course KD's going to score. He's been on fire all year. There's nothing that's going to stop him. Plus, this is a young team. A young team, you want to always keep them playing. You don't want to rest them. So they're not going to make KD play less minutes or anything else. They're just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. They got strong legs. KD's going to do it. Real talk.
Well, that's real talk from Lorenzo and Ludolf for the MVP, the soon-to-be MVP, and the best player in the league.
I don't know.
Okay, this next statement involves a Coach of the Year candidate. And the statement is Scott Brooks the Coach of the Year, despite the Thunder being 4 games behind the Spurs in the Western Conference. So, Ludolph, is Scott Brooks the Coach of the Year?
I'm going to say this is cheap talk. The Coach of the Year is going to go to Greg Popovich. No matter how old this team continues to get, they just continue to pull it off over and over again, no matter what. Tim Duncan, he's ageless. He just continues to play. Mr. Fundamental, you know him. You know he's going to get Tony Parker. They're still there. They battle injuries. And one player that always keeps them together is, what's the small forward name?
Patty Mills?
No, the small forward, the one that
Kawhi
Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. They win over 60% of their games when Kawhi Leonard has been in the lineup this year. So as long as he's healthy, I don't see any way they can stop him. This Coach of the Year right now is Greg Popovich.
So that's cheap talk.
I'm going to agree with Ludolph again.
4 for 4.
I don't give as much credit to Scott Brooks for being Coach of the Year. I give most of that credit to Kevin Durant and his greatness. He's brought his team around. They rallied around him, and he's had a great year. I mean, no taking away from Scott Brooks. He's been a great coach, and he's did a lot this year. But I give a lot more credit to Kevin Durant.
So 4 for 4 these analysts so far. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Pacers. The Pacers have lost the last 7 of their 9 games so far. And they look like they've been out of fuel, but it's gotten worse and worse as we've seen as the week has progressed. But now the statement is, have the Pacers hit rock bottom? They're now second in the East, 1 game behind the Heat. So, Lorenzo, have the Pacers hit rock bottom?
Real talk. We're talking about the Pacers and big defensive team. They're failing to score points. I mean, I blame it on the guard play. They're not getting the ball inside. They're not using Hibbert and West and Scola. They got to take advantage of these guys. We're talking about a team that was 8-10 in March. They haven't been playing well for about 6 weeks. We're going into the playoffs, and they're not looking so good. They might be upset in their first round, but a lot is around Paul George. This guy's, I thought, who was going to be destined for superstardom this year, and he's really disappointed me since the All-Star break. He's had a good year, but a lot of distractions with the off-field thing. I won't comment on his personal life, but if he has to get it together, I mean, they're going to need him for the playoffs, and he's probably one of the main reasons they hit rock bottom. Real talk.
Real talk.
Okay. I'm going to go and say this is cheap talk. Yes, the first disagreement.
He loves Paul George, so we see why.
Listen. Okay, they're playing horrible, but they're still second, and they're going to play either Atlanta or Charlotte. I mean, they have Paul George could probably beat them single-handedly. So
they just lost to Charlotte a few days ago.
I know they just lost to Charlotte a few days ago.
And they just lost to Atlanta.
But they're not going to. That's a game. That's not a 7-game series. They're not going to be able to pull off that 4 times versus Indiana. Indiana can beat them. They're a way better team. We all agree on that. So as long as they can just keep it together, they can still at least make it to the second round. If they can find a way to find that glue, get some ball movement, get some ball handlers. What I've heard in the news is Hibbert is calling the team selfish. They're calling Paul George selfish. They're saying he's taking too many shots, and other players, when he does have the ball, they're just watching him. They're not moving around. So I don't know if that's because of the players not moving around. Paul George doesn't see anything happening, and he does have the green light to take the shot, and he's just taking it all the time because no one else is doing anything, or this team needs to find a way to get some ball movement. The defense is still there. People are not scoring over 100 on them, but they just aren't scoring enough. So they haven't hit rock bottom because they have time to improve yet, and they're not in bad state.
Playoffs is here in 2 weeks.
Yep, and it's 50-50, and not just that they've hit rock bottom, but Ludolph stated that they're breaking apart. So
yeah, they're falling.
Pacers, get your act together. All right, guys, we're going to talk about the Nets here, and the Nets are now 5th in the East. And if the playoffs were to start today, they will be facing the number 4 seed Chicago Bulls. And the statement is the Nets will need KG to get out the first round. Is that real talk or cheap talk, Lorenzo?
That's real talk. If we're going to start the playoffs today, they're facing the Chicago Bulls, a team that's going to focus on getting the ball inside. And this is a Nets team that's playing small ball, playing Teletovic and guys at bigger positions like Paul Pierce, playing them at the 4, and they're going to need guys like Kevin Garnett to hold the paint down. And playoffs is about defense. And if Kevin Garnett can come back and they need him to play some defense, then they'll be fine. But they're going to need Garnett in the first round. They're playing Chicago.
Well, okay.
I'm also going to say that this is real talk. if they're playing the Chicago Bulls, they're gonna need as much big, intimidating people as they possible. Cause that's Chicago's gonna come in. They're gonna come in there. They're gonna play rough. They're gonna play tough. They're gonna play good deep. You know that from Chicago. They're not letting down on that. So if Garnett's not there, they don't have anybody else that could bring that same intensity, or at least fire up the team, do something aggressive to battle back on that pressure that Chicago's gonna put on them. If they can't have KG, they have no chance to beat Chicago.
No chance.
They have a chance.
They have a chance.
No, they have a chance.
I believe they have a chance because you could probably limit KD to probably 10 to 15, and the Nets would probably still win because Dan Williams could turn it on. You still got Sean Livingston, a big guard, and Joe Johnson, who's on fire for the last 5 games. So I would have to say that's cheap talk. I don't really think they need KG, but it would be valuable to have KG. But facing the Bulls will be tough.
They need him to get out. They need every single bullet they can throw at Chicago.
Well, we'll see if the playoffs would have ended today, but I have the Bulls at the 3rd seed, so we'll see how the playoffs turn out at the end of the season. Okay, the last topic here, it's going to be a question, I just came up with it between TICs, and it involves Kyrie Irving. And the media has been, saying that Kyrie Irving has a desire to leave Cleveland at the end of the season. So my question is to you is does he really want to leave Cleveland, or he wants to stay and build a franchise and be that star player for Cleveland? So Ludo, what do you think? He wants to stay or he wants to leave?
I think right now he's still young. He still has a lot of decisions to make. It's just like being a college student. You go to college, you think you want to do something now, you're still young, and then years go by, and then you see you want to do everything. More options become available to you. So right now I think he does want to stay. He sees that they are making moves, they are trying, so he sees possibilities. But as of right now, I think he does have a desire to stay. Things might change later, but right now he does have a desire to stay and work with Cleveland.
I can't agree with you. Kyrie Irving, I think he's gone, honestly. What if you failed to surround him with, you gave him, Anthony Bennett and Lou Alding and
Spencer Hawes.
What have you given him if you're the Cleveland organization in the last 3 years? You have given him nothing. Now, if I was Kyrie Irving, I'd be looking to go somewhere where I could meet up with another superstar and have a chance at a championship. Now, who really wants to go to Cleveland? Honestly, nobody. Now, Cleveland,
Except LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron went there. It was good.
LeBron wants to go back home. Yes, but it's not like it's like Cleveland to play at it. Like he wants to end his career because he started there and he wants to end there. It's not that he wants to go back to win more championship. He just wants to retire, safely, in my eyes. But back to Kyrie, I think he wants to leave. Deep down inside, he wants to leave because right now it's a replica of what they had with LeBron, and they brought in some tools, but. They had J.J. Hickson, they brought in some good tools, but it wasn't the tools LeBron wanted. So I don't think they're bringing in the tools for Kyrie to excel the way he's supposed to be, because he had a good season last year, and look at him now. Regardless of the injuries, he's had no help from Dion Waiters, and Jerry Jack was supposed to come out, so I just don't see him actually wanting to stay in Cleveland. Nobody wants to stay in Cleveland, so I have to agree with Lorenzo, but you never know. He probably wants to stay in Cleveland. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
So Kyrie, let's see what decision you make. And that's gonna do it for Real Talk, Cheap Talk. But we gotta say we miss Gio here.
Yeah, Gio.
On the show, Gio being in this spot. So I hope he's doing good in Haiti, and we wish you a good trip, and when you come back, this spot will be good for you. But we talked on some topics just like the Pacers, Kyrie Irving, and it was a good discussion. Real Talk, Cheap Talk. So please leave your comments below if you agree or disagree with our analysts here, Ludolph and Lorenzo. So my name is Kyle Schillerford, Ludolph and Lorenzo Wilkins.